In the story of the movie, some such incidents are shown in Forest Village. The reverence of the people living there and their games revolve around God. To know the truth of Gangaur of that village, you must like this video and subscribe to the channel. So let's start the movie without any delay. The scene of 1847 Iraq is shown in the beginning of the movie, where we see a king who had everything but still did not have peace in his mind, and this make him frustrated. The king had traveled to many religious places for water and could not find peace anywhere, and then one day when he was returning to his palace, he saw a village of his kingdom in the forest, where he had heard one voice, and he followed the society and reached the people of that village, where he came to know about the demigods of the village who had come inside a young man of the same village at this time. He used to protect the people there and give them a good life. But the king asked demigod to accompany him to his palace, so that he could get the inner peace, and in return demigod told the king that wherever his voice would go, he would give all the land to the people of Boing. And with this logic, king take demigod to his palace and give all land to the villagers here demigod, and it also told the king that if there is any mistake in the coming time, then he will definitely get his punishment. Now in this way demigod will come to the king's palace, and the villagers got a large forest land from which he could live his life. Time passed, and next scene 1970 was shown in that village where Shiva lived with his father, and his father narrated the whole story to the gathering. But at this time the king's dynasty, landlord, wanted to take back the forest land from the villagers as he did not trust any demigod story. Shiva father performing demigod festival Butakola, and this every year people believe that at that time, the demigod passes the performer and solve the problems of the people. Whatever is asked of him at that time, he definitely gives the answer, and when demigod comes to Shiva's father in the worship of Butkola festival, where landlord told him that he should return his ancestors' forest land, demigod then tells him that he can return his forest land. But can he return the grind they have given to his family for so many years? Landlord told to the demigod that he knows very well what he need to do get his land back, and he does not believe in any religious. To me, God gets angry after hearing this, and he runs towards the forest. Seeing them running, Shiva also follows them, where the demigod suddenly disappears somewhere. Now the father was performing service to the demigod, so he also disappears from that day along with the demigod, and a few days after his disappearance, that landlord dies due to blood vomit. In next scene 1990 is shown where the present landlord, Devendra, is holding a competition in the village in which buffalo race is going to happen. Devendra was the son of the same landlord who died of blood vomiting in 1970. Shiva buffalo wins buffalo race, but the landlord's man, Dharma, is busy in getting his buffalo the first prize, due to which Shiva gets into a fight with Dharma and the matter reaches the landlord. The landlord then gets angry at Dharma and gives Shiva a medal in the form of a price, and also gives some bottle to drink. From this we know Shiva used to work only for landlord, and that is why landlord always supported him. He always used to roam around with his friend and did not do any business. He used to go hunting in the forest, due to which his mother always scolded him, but his words did not make any difference. On the other hand, we can see Murli, the new forest officer who came to the police station, who was brutally beating some of the hunting boys in the forest because he had come there for forest safety, where both cutting trees and hunting in the forest are illegal. Just then his seniors come there and forbid Murli from beating those boys like this, and explain to him that this is a sensitive area. The people here are not afraid of the police. Their life has been spent hunting in this forest. That's why they don't understand all the rules. So he has to deal with carefully. Actually Murali was sent here to reserve the forest. Next day he shows some villager to cutting and taking forest woods. Seeing the same, he starts shouting on them and tries to convince them this is all illegal. Then Shiva comes there with his friends, and he tells Murli that our life goes on by killing the wild animals here in this forest. That's why he doesn't need to talk about rules here. Now because of this meeting, Murali and Shiva become each other's content. After that in the night Shiva goes to hunt for swine in the forest with his friend, where he hears some sound, but no longer paying attention to it. Kills that bear and brings it to party at night with his friend. But then at bedtime he dream of a place where a strange animal is standing in front of him and is trying to scare him. Shiva often saw that type of dream. On the other hand, Murali goes to meet the landlord at his house, where landlord indirectly tries to reunite him with him. But Murali was a constant police officer. That's why without coming into the talk of landlord, he left from there. After this Murali explained about forest in map to his senior officers, where it gives permission to fencing the village land to reserve the forest. On the other hand, the performance of the Butkola festival is going on the village. There we show a girl Leela who recently came after completing her forest guard training, because she was Shiva's girlfriend. That's why Shiva comes to her and starts having some fun with her, and then there comes the officer Murli. Because of their festival, the people of the village were bursting firecrackers. Murali accompanied his team came over there and denies people to burst firecrackers because of noise pollution. But Shiva stops him from doing so, due to which they both start to arguing. But the people of the village come and stop the fight between them and Murali leaves from there in anger. Next day Leela's father comes to Shiva and asks him to go and talk to the landlord to recommend Leela's job, and so the Shiva comes to the landlord with Leela and recommends her job to him. And due to which, Leela gets the job of forest guard after a few days, and in the meantime both keep meeting each other. Leela joins her duty after the match, where he comes to know that Murali with his team is going to go to the village to send the fencing to the forest area, and that is why he also takes Leela with him, so that she explains to the people of the village for this. But as he reaches the village, the people of the village try to stop them from doing this because forest land is very important for them. When Shiva friend Sundar tries to stop them, Polish start hitting him. When the Shiva comes to know about this, he quickly comes there and starts fighting with those people who had come there to do fencing work. After a long fight, Murali fires his gun and Shiva is tied up so as not to disturb their work, and thus he leaves the village by digging a pit for fencing. Now Shiva gets very angry because of this, and when Leela comes to him in anger he push her away and start filling the pits. On the other hand, landlord take villager thumbs print on the document of the land and get the whole land in his name, and the villagers are unable to understand it. One of the villager is very happy to see such a big house of the landlord and accidentally sets foot inside his house, because of which Mohan, a man of the landlord, would start biting him, because he belonged to the lower caste and it was considered forbidden to enter the house or touch anything of the high caste. But seeing this, Shiva angrily starts fighting Mohan, and then the landlord tells Shiva to keep calm and scolds Mohan and sends him inside. Landlord supports Shiva because he worked for him and also because he can help him to get all land from villager. At night landlord goes to the forest to meet his sweetheart and takes Shiva along for his safety. Where Shiva hears a voice, and when Shiva follows the voice suddenly Demibold comes in front of him, and seeing this Shiva gets scared and starts running away screaming. Now because of this load he also had to leave his dhoti and run away so that no one would see him there. On other hand, Murali wants to caught Shiva doing illegal work. But he used to run away every time. But one time Dharmani informs Murali that Shiva is cutting trees in the forest with his friends, then Murali and other officer come to forest to caught Shiva. Shiva comes to know that the police have come to catch him. That's why he leaves his work in the middle and hides there nearby. When Murali and his team goes to forest, a half-cut tree fall on them, due to which he gets hurt, so he was admitted in the hospital. Because of now the police starts looking for Shiva and his friends everywhere. Police are put around their houses so that whenever they come home, the police can catch them. Because of this they go and hide in the forest for a few days. Shiva goes to Leela's house where they both romance, but one day when they get together in the forest, only then Murali comes to know. And reaches there with his team, and Shiva is arrested, but there is an accident with Murali when Murali fires Shiv's gun at misfire. Murali gets hurt because of that, and the police arrest Shiva and his friends and put them in jail. After which Guruva calls the landlord to get Shiva out of the jail because demigod told him to do so in a dream. After the father's disappearance by running in forest, after which in festival Guruva used to perform as the Shiva should have done the service after the disappearance of the father, but he was not interested. So the work was given again on Guruva. Demigod used to come inside him at the time of the festival and listen to the problems of the people and solve them. But because Shiva don't listen to him, that's why landlord didn't bail Shiva out of jail. That's why Shiva have to live in jail for a long time, where sometime Leela come to meet him. On the other side, in landlord's mind, he was making a plan to take back his property from the villagers, and for this he takes Guruva in his car towards his land area. A man of the village Mahajan see Guruva going in the car with the landlord. Their landlord agrees to give him some part of his land, and in return he wants that whenever demigod comes inside him at the Butkola festival, he should not listen to the demigod and speak to the villagers that the land which they have should be returned to the landlord. But Guruva don't listen to landlord and say that he can't cheat to the demigod in village. At night villager hear Guruva voice. When those people come out and see, they see the dead body of Guruva in the Butkola festival ground, like someone had thrown a knife there. Due to this, the people of the whole villager become very sad. On other side, Shiva dream of demigod who is crying in front of him. Next day landlord come to Shiva's house and tells the people that he will definitely find Durga's murderer. After that, Shiva's mother and Leela tell Shiva about Guruva's death, and he get very sad hearing this. On the other hand, Murali learns that the landlord has taken all the land belonging to the villagers in his possession. He had got all the land transferred in his name by getting thumbs up from the villagers, and when Murali is talking to his lawyer about this, a constable of Murali tells all the things to the landlord. After which now landlord gets Shiva out of jail to get Murali out of the way, and here we learn that landlord pretends to be good for so long to avenge his father's death and take back his ancestors' land while he was a devil, and that day when Guruva did not listen to him, He had killed the him with a knife and tell his people to throw his body to festival ground so village people get frustrated. After coming out of jail, he comes to the landlord. Their landlord tells Shiva that his brother was murdered by the forest officer Murli so that there is no performer in Budkala festival in the village. After listening to this, Shiva angrily sets out to kill Murli, and Dharma also told his people to follow him so that he can see what Shiva is going to do. But before going to Murli, Shiva comes to Mahajan, and their Mahajan tells the Shiva that one day before Guruva's death, he saw the Guruva in the landlord's car, and since then he has not returned, and after hearing this Shiva understood. Then when Dharma hears this, he attacked the Shiva, but he killed them all from there and drove them away, and from there comes to the landlord's house and chats with him that he will definitely punish him. On the other hand, Murli comes and tells the villagers that the lands have cleverly taken advantage of them and got all their land in their name, and after hearing this the villagers become sad. Shiva also came here. He also tells the villagers that landlord is the one who killed Guruva and then ask Murali support him. Landlord also came here with his people. The landlord sets fire to the houses of the villagers and starts killing them. In this way, the fight between the villagers and the people of the landlord goes on for a long time, and on that side another Shiva gets angry and proceeds to kill the landlord. But her man Mohan starts killing him and beats him badly and throws him to one side, where the essence of the Shiva seems to go from a single stone, which was the stone of demigods, and after that the Shiva heard the sound of the demigod and the demigod come inside the Shiva. From now on he starts performing like a god in festival and kills all the people on the landlord. Then he also beheads the landlord, and thus the villagers now live in peace. In the Bhuta festival of this time, Shiva performs the service, and then suddenly the Shiva run toward the jungle where he meets another demigod who may be his father who had disappeared many years ago, and with this movie also ends. So friends, how did you like the movie? Tell us on the comment section. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.